Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
Let's start. Welcome to A Creator-Based Life, the weekly podcast for CMH Coaching. We are so glad you're here, and I'm so excited to talk about this today. Just have to tell you, I have lots to say, so get ready. Hold your seats. We empower women of faith to create the lives they love, the lives they've always wanted, to realize the power of a creator and to become full-fledged creators in their own lives. I'm here with Jacine Bonnet, who is an incredible business coach and a runner and a grandma, and with Jennifer DeRoos, who is a can grow almost anything gardener and a really amazing hypnotherapist, also a coach. Today, we're talking about the last 5, but we're really not talking about all 5 because we'd be here for 3 hours. The last 5, of the healing factors that Kelly Turner brought out in her book, Radical Hope. And I'm just going to tell you real quick what they're about. I want to focus on one in particular because it's something that we could easily talk about for 3 hours, even just on the one between the, and will make a huge difference in your life. The 5 that Kelly Turner brought up were releasing suppressed emotions, changing your diet, herbs and supplements, having strong reasons for living, which I think is really an interesting thing that was common in everybody who got healthy, having strong reasons for living, and increasing social support. Right. Well, as a nutritional herbalist, I'm all into the whole diet and herbs and supplement thing, and we'll do that at some point in the future. But for today, I really want to talk and I think it's just going to come up with the strong reasons for living and the social support, but mostly releasing suppressed emotions. So just talking about releasing suppressed emotions. I know everybody has experiences with that, right? So I just thought we would talk for a little bit about all the different ways. Yesterday we had Coaching Clear, and since we're not recording on Monday, we're recording on Wednesday instead, which is kind of a cool thing. I asked the girls in Coaching Clear, what do you do to release your emotions? And it was so interesting to hear all the differences, all the different ways. Everything from Jen, your ears probably were burning because we were talking about you, about walking among the trees and forest bathing and the things in nature, to it was just remarkable, all the different things that came up. And so I wanted to find out from you guys, what comes to mind when you think of releasing suppressed emotions? We're not designed to walk around with them stuck in us all the time. They're an energy that's designed to move through us, right? They only last a short time if we don't hold them and build on them. They'll pass right through. But what do you do to have that happen?
I do want to add something really quick here. I've been listening to this.
We got as long as you want. Stop.
I've been listening to this girl who's actually she's a therapist, but she has a neuroscientist background. And so I really like what she says. And so she really talks a lot about how we have to move our bodies We have to move our bodies to really have the fullness of healing. You know, it's great that we do all the thought work, but we need to also do the body work. And she has this phrase, I'm like, I'm totally stealing it. Your issues are in your tissues.
Oh,
That's
good.
and so,
Yeah.
yeah. And so she's like, when you feel those emotions, move your body, do something with your body. Or
And
when maybe you're doing your body, that's why a lot of people, when they do yoga, they have breakdowns because they're moving their issues out of their body. And it's like that releasing those emotions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That, yeah. And it's funny, like in Tony Robbins' terms, he uses change your thoughts, change your physiology. So
Mhm.
in that moment when you're having that thought or whatever, yeah, change your physiology, move your body basically. Yeah. Do
well,
something to
Nelson,
interact.
Dr. Bradley Nelson talks about how our trapped emotions, the ones that get stuck in there because we don't move them through, are
Mhm.
stuck in specific places. That different organs and tissues have propensities to hold different emotions. So it just all fits.
Mhm.
Got to
Mhm.
move your body, which is funny because in coaching, Claire, I really want to make you guess who said it, but that would be a breach of privacy. One of the girls said she loves to do a dance party.
Oh, fun.
Like when she's over fatigued or whether she's overstressed or feeling, a little bit out of sorts, that she will go into the kitchen and just dance. And she said it's remarkable just a minute of dancing, what it will do for her. Because, like you said, issues in your tissues or change your physiology by moving your
Yeah,
body.
that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, really huge. They taught me yesterday. It was coaching Claire was exceptional. It was so, so good.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I know that in the past, before I knew this, so those of you who are younger and not in your 40s or 50s, or even if you are, you can still learn and grow like I have. But for so long, I kept burying my emotions, bury.
They
And
were so convenient.
yes, and even as a child, so pay attention to your children. I, at the age of 12, got shingles on my abdomen.
You
And
need to think why people get shingles.
right, yes, right? Why do they get shingles? It's because they have these trapped emotions. They don't have an outlet. They're trying to make, for me personally, is I wanted my world to be perfect. And I wanted to be the perfect daughter, and I wanted to be the perfect sister. And
As
yeah,
if we would all be happy. That
yes,
is the world's biggest myth. If we were just all perfect, we would all be happy. It's a
right.
terrible myth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and then it continued on. I ended up with hives after a big function that I just pushed through, and not taken the time to process anything. I ended up with hives for 6 months. And the doctors were like, we can't figure out, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't have allergies. You don't have this. You don't. And they're trying steroids and all kinds of other kinds of things. And it was my emotions that I was trapping and not allowing to come forward. And all of those things ended up in my right, my right, I guess right above my hip, back, low back, hip.
Right lower back area.
And that was just a point in my body that where I had had a horseback riding accident that was pretty significant. And it was a weak part of my body. And that's where my emotions all like sat until I learned from Dr. Bradley Nelson. Oh, you can't hear me?
No, I can hear you. I
Oh,
said, is that
okay.
the hip that still gives you trouble on occasion when things get
No,
out of
it's my left hip now. Yeah, yeah, it's my left hip.
Yes.
So
Hey,
yes.
Beth, move your microphone closer. I think we're not getting you.
Ta-da!
That's
Oh,
better.
so much better.
It's
We're
called
not
bring the microphone to the mouth instead of
we're
way
not
over in left
getting
field.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
like, am I not? Yeah.
No, it's me.
Yeah. So anyway, just being able, learning from Dr. Bradley Nelson about trapped emotions and how to release them and going in and doing that work, I discovered there were a lot of emotions that were still sitting there from when my dad died. And I'm just putting on the happy face and just moving through and not, just da 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 da. And it was
Yeah.
like an onion. right? Oftentimes we've got those trapped emotions that are like onions. And then finally, when I got to the root of it, I don't have issues. Like you said, now I have issues in my other hip. So I got to
Well, maybe
figure out
the other
what's
hip is
going on there.
compensating for what used to be in the right hip, and it's just part of that healing process, you know?
Ooh, I like it. Yeah.
Working your
So
way
we've
through
got
that.
some
Yeah.
exploring to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Mm.
Emotions are just a really, really big part of our lives. And as children, at least in my generation, if you had emotions as children, a lot of parents were saying, I'll give you, stop your crying, or I'll give you something to cry about.
Yes.
And that became deeply ingrained in a lot of folks that emotions are not good. Emotions get me in trouble. I can't let this emotion show because something bad will happen. And when
Mhm.
that's internalized as a very small child, you don't even recognize that you're doing it anymore by the time you're 6 or 8 or 20. You just don't have emotions. You just don't let them come up. What were you going to say, Jen? I can see it bubbling.
Because I had the same experience in my family. We emotions were not to be talked about, expressed, experienced. And if we had emotions, we could only have the good emotions.
Right. Only the happy feelings
The
and
only
not too
happy emotions.
loud with the happy feelings.
Yeah. And like if I had anger, I was a bad person
Yeah.
where, I had to learn a
Bad
lot
girl.
about anger. And I'm like, anger is a good thing to have. It's an
Okay. Talk to us
emotion.
about anger, why anger is good.
Anger is good because for me it's telling me there's something there that I need to look at. If I'm getting, upset and angry about something, there's a deeper seated emotion. And usually for me, it's like shame or unlovability or not good enough. It's like a deep thing. And
Yeah.
so anger to me tells me, oh, I've got to look. I've got to look at this, pay attention. And as soon as I'm like, oh, there's anger, and I'm trying to figure that out, the anger's gone.
Right. Because the anger was simply there to let you know there was an imbalance.
Yeah.
Mm.
So when you start looking at your emotions as they come up and you're like, I feel so sad, then you lean into your creator and you ask, is there something here that I need to know? And just like you said, you ask the question and it opens the door for that emotion to come through or for you to learn.
Yeah. I had to learn that emotions were not good or bad. They were just information. Just
Just
information.
information.
Mhm.
Yep. Did you want to say
Oh.
something?
JC
JC loves that. Emotions
apparently
are
loves
not good
that
or
one.
bad. They're just
So
information.
good. That was perfect.
That was Zoom's what is it? Zoom AI reading JC's emotion.
It was just like she's emitting all this love of that comment.
So funny. Yeah, those emotions are really something. So different ways that we can release those. We talked about dancing. We
Mhm.
talked about just being curious. I know that's one of Jen's superpowers is the ability to question and to be curious about what she's feeling. What other things? What other things can help us just work with the things that come up?
I think having a list of words,
Uh-huh.
of emotions, and you can
A
Google it.
list to name
Yes.
them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
name it to tame it.
Name it to tame
So
it.
just having that list and being able, because really we can mostly maybe
Fine.
list 5 emotions and having said, it's the basics, but
Right.
there's so much depth in that. Having those words in front of you or just pulling up a list and going, oh, that's really what I'm
Yeah,
feeling.
it's not that I feel bad, it's that I feel sad. And as I begin to investigate, I feel sad. Actually, what it is I feel disappointed
Mm.
in
Yeah.
the way that worked out. And that comes down to unloved, which kind of translates to unworthy. Oh, this is a big, deep thing, right?
Yeah.
And as you follow it down and you give each one a name. What were you going to say, Jen?
There's really good, like those lists. They actually have what are called emotion wheels out there
Mhm.
Yes.
that do that.
Dr.
That take
Chris
you,
just made a new one.
yeah. So
Yeah.
find yourself an emotion wheel and figure that, that can help you. But
It helps so much to just identify. And then for me, I have to identify before I can get curious. But I
mhm.
guess that's part of the curiosity thing, right? Is Okay, I've got this
Well, then
emotion. What is it? Yeah.
I, like you, JC, like I could probably in the very beginning of this journey name 3 or 4 emotions. But so
Mhm.
a lot of it is educating you on what those emotions are. And I'm going to always tout it, but I love Brene Brown's Atlas
Yeah.
of the Heart. It will teach
It
you
is the
everything
best.
about every emotion. And it'll
Yes.
make you go, oh, aha, and like, oh my goodness. And so I've always read that book.
Well, because words matter.
Mhm.
Words,
Words are power.
they are power.
Words
They
are power.
matter.
They're creation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is creation power there. That is so cool, you guys. Words matter.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And naming it tames it. And if you name it by when you're writing it, if you actually write it out longhand, that slows your brain and slows the connection so that you turbocharge the ability to release those things.
Mhm.
One of the things that has really helped me all along is just when I'm all stirred up about something, is just to sit down and write. Just
Mhm.
not blaming, not solving, just
Mm-hmm.
writing about what I'm feeling. This is what happened. This is how I feel about it. And as I would write it, then it could come down through deeper and deeper, like we just did with the sad emotion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that creates a literal release to where by the time you're done writing, what I love is the connection with my creator too. I've released a lot of it, but then that leaves the space for God to show me what he wants me to understand about that. And so it'll be releasing it all, dumping it, and then you find that stillness, and then in comes the new thought. And
Mhm.
there's just a beautiful, beautiful experience in writing.
Mhm. Well,
And
it's like think of 2 doors, right? And you think of you want all this light to come in, then you've got to be able to
you got
close
to clean it
the
out.
door. You have to close the other door so that you can have the light come in. Otherwise, you can't get the fullness without closing that.
Yeah. Yeah. It is remarkable. I was reading, it's kind of interesting that today is Wednesday and we are recording instead of Monday, because this morning I got a note from Aviva Ram. She's the one that I've studied women's medicine with, women's herbal medicine. And she was writing about anxiety. And we know a lot about anxiety in the emotional response and the different components of anxiety. A lot of anxiety is fear of fear, but a lot of anxiety too is chaos and resistance. And we talk
Mhm.
a lot about that when we work with masterminds or with Coach and Clear as we're working together. But her blog today was talking about something she found that solves her personal anxiety. And she says it's called positive distraction.
Mm, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought it was just a really neat term, it's positive distraction. And
Mhm.
she says, I'll read it to you. She says it's a state that's created when you engage in focused, combined activities that literally decompress anxiety over time and rewire our brains. The thing with positive distraction is it involves using several senses at one time, like putting on music and making a nice meal, taking a walk while listening to a podcast, reading a novel in a warm bath, or sitting in your favorite chair while sipping tea, which is my personal favorite. Um,
Mm.
but for her, she was talking about knitting and how
Mhm.
she has
Oh.
recently taken up, because we know knitting, and Jen, you can probably address this, what knitting actually does in the brain. But we know that it's really good for brain health and for calming. It works as well as an antidepressant in a lot of cases. And
Wow.
she's been knitting and listening to podcasts, doing the two things. The positive distraction is bringing forward, creating something that's new with a gentle distraction, like the knitting or the podcast or the tea or the bath. Can you speak to that a little bit, Jen?
Well, a little bit, probably not in
Well,
depth.
we don't have to go deep. This is just us talking on the podcast.
Well, I do know that when you are using your hands to do something, you use a different part of your brain. And
Mhm.
so you get out of your crazy gerbil wheel, limbic monkey
Yeah, the
brain.
hamster wheel slows down.
Yeah. And now you have to focus in on something, and it's repetitious. And so it can be kind of probably soothing because there's a rhythm
Well, it
there.
puts you in a flow state. I know that that knitting, because your needles cross, it doesn't work with crocheting, you guys, which makes me really sad because I love to crochet and I don't knit.
I'm
But
like,
it's actually the crossover of the moving the stitches and the everything being crossed over that has the effect on the brain that's so calming.
Well,
oh my
think
God.
about it. It's integration. Remember when we do the
There you
passing
go.
bottle back and forth?
Oh yeah, go over that one more time so the girls will remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a very simple way that when you feel unregulated, you basically are no longer, in your frontal cortex. You're just haywire. And to integrate,
Yeah.
to integrate your brain, you're unintegrated. You want to bring this back online. Is we do a crossover exercise where you just take a bottle. I'm going to use, or something like this, and you just pass it in front of you back and forth like this.
Uh-huh.
And simply
And you do it what for like 20
you
or
do
30
it until
seconds?
you feel a sigh, till you feel a change. And you can stand up and do it, you can sit down and do it, but you want to hand it off and then go over, and you hand it off. You don't like go back and forth, and you just hand it off. Yeah. But
it's the
integrates
crossover.
the brain. It's a crossover.
Yeah, which is what
do
you're
it with
doing
a water bottle because it's easier. You can kind of get a rhythm going. And you just do it until you have a shiver, you have a sigh, you have a yawn, you have just a change in your state.
Which is interesting because when I was doing it, I got chills.
I wanted to yawn
This is
immediately.
different. This makes no sense. You
Yeah.
yawn. Yours is a yawn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, when Aviva was writing, she was writing about the positive distraction, but she really cautioned us against the negative distractions. And the way that she explained the positive distractions, engage your hand and your mind in something creative, right? And those actually put us in a flow state that grounds us and brings us back to ourselves.
Wow.
They give us a brain reset. But the bad distractions, she called us out for doom scrolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or zoning out with unintentional content.
Did she go into any detail on why the scrolling is like a bad distraction?
Yes. She says it overstimulates your brain and leaves you even more anxious than when you started.
Yes.
It's
And
just too much.
another aspect that Huberman brings out is that every time you scroll and you find something you like, you get a small dopamine hit.
Dopamine hit, yes.
So you want more of that. You want more of that. You want more. And dopamine is addictive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's overstimulating. You'll stay with it long enough that your brain's just fried, essentially.
So it's like, yeah.
Which I see that like in kids, there's just so much, and then they get cranky, and the more they're on their device, the more they're on their device, the crankier they get. And I'm just like, put that thing away.
That's supposed to make it better.
Interesting enough, Beth, about her steps of creativity with the hands, and then like she's listening to something, but so you can actually go into a different brainwave state. Usually when we're experiencing anxiety and all that, we've gone from beta, like this that we're talking, to like catastrophizing.
Yes. And there's chaos up there.
Yeah, there's chaos. And to change your brain out of that, you have to change its wavelength. And that's why like hypnosis is so great, because it takes you into theta. So and that's why some people, like if they're stressed out, they can they sleep or they take a nap or whatever. I mean, if you can, some people
reset.
It's a reset. And so what happens, a lot of people don't understand that you can go into a very light theta or an alpha state by doing creative work, because it helps you focus.
That's the flow state.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that place where you lose track of time.
Yep.
Like when I did my vision board for the What's Your One Word class, being in that vision board state, I lost track of time, and it was just so refreshing. Yeah.
That's a theta state or possibly an alpha state. But
theta or alpha.
Whenever you go into a creative state, you're out of beta and into a theta or alpha state. Yeah.
Well, and you think about knitting, and you're not doing a whole lot with your brain, but you need to stay focused enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but sometimes when I do those repetitive things, like when I sew or quilt like that, it's like my problems are kind of back here.
Yes, they are. They
And
go
I'm
away.
trying, yeah, well, kind of. I'm
Get
kind
like
of,
into a waiting room. They go into the
yeah.
waiting room.
Well, for me, sometimes they're back here and I'm doing my thing,
Processing
doing my
quick.
thing. And all of a sudden I start to have resolution.
Really cool ideas. Yeah.
Yes. Or I
Mhm.
start to have like, you know, not that big of a deal. You got kind of
What
crazy
was
on
I
that. Or
thinking?
like, why don't you try X, Y, or Z? Or, you know, this problem's already solved. You don't need to be doing that. You know, so it kind of helps me resolve certain things when I get into that state.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One of the other things that the girls brought out of Coaching Clear yesterday was service. Doing something for somebody else
Yep.
was an
Mhm.
incredibly settling thing. And what came up for me with that was you're working with your creator, you're doing something with God, and you're combining that with the flow. So you're actually in a God flow state. And I would think that would make a huge difference. I know that's what happens to me when I start digging into reading the Bible or reading the Book of Mormon, just when I'm reading in my scriptures or when I'm writing. I'll go into that God flow state and I could be there till lunchtime, and not even know that it was going on because it's just it is so soothing and revitalizing.
I think that's something that's super helpful, like with the hypnotherapy. So
Yes.
this is something I've been able to go into that space before, but when I did the hypnotherapy with Jen, it just helped to make it more clear on how to get there and how to be there. Like even I had a 10.5 hour drive on Monday.
Mhm.
Um, and that first half of the drive, I was in that space with my
Mhm.
Flow
creator.
state. Yeah.
And it was really, really, really good. And it's because I had had the hypnotherapy and learned how to access that part
Mhm.
to bring it to life and have it just be right there and real. So I'm
Yeah.
a huge fan of
And the
the
more you practice,
hypnotherapy.
the easier it gets, right?
Yeah.
Slide
Yeah.
in and out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the hypno meditations to be able to just settle down for 20 minutes and do a little hypnotherapy session after
Yeah.
lunch. Yeah. And how good you feel. You guys, just shameless plug for Jen. She's amazing with hypnotherapy.
Yes.
You just, yeah, I'm just saying, you just want to work with
So
her.
if you guys want to get connected with her,
Yeah.
is
Reach out.
yeah, reach out.
Mhm.
CMHcoaching.com.
CMH Coaching. Yep. Just send us a message and we'll get you hooked up
Yep.
because what she does is super valuable and she knows her brain stuff really well.
And I was scared to do it. Like honestly, I
Well,
was
yeah, me too. I didn't want to
I'm
bark
like,
like a dog or do something
You don't.
stupid.
like, because
You
you see
don't.
that stuff on TV, right? And
Yeah.
well, there are people out there that might do things that are maybe not on the up and up. I don't know that for sure, but I
Well,
I
let me
think
let me
there
just tell
probably
you
are.
one thing.
Yes.
You are always in control. You are not going to bark like a dog no matter how much I ask you to do it if you do not want to do it.
No.
It's not that at
And I
all.
learned that. It's not what that is. That's
Oh,
theatrics
good.
from something you saw on TV. It's not real.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
fact, there are a lot of times I'm with somebody, they get really forceful with me, and I'm like, that is great.
Go
Let's
for it.
let's do something different. I know, Gracie, I love yours. No, Beth has done it to me too. No, just not going there. I'm like, okay, well,
Not doing it. That's right.
no, I just am not doing that one. Okay, well, let's look at it this way. Yeah.
Just
You are
don't
always
hit
in
me. We're going to
control.
move. We're going to do something else. Yep.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
true. It is true. Oh, this has been so much fun. Okay. So, any other creative ways that you release suppressed emotion or trapped emotions? When I was a teenager, I had a teacher who taught us transactional analysis in off hours, and we beat pillows on a bed with a tennis racket. And it was wonderful. We got to places where we discovered things that we felt were injustices, and we beat the pillows for the injustices, and we felt better. That was my first taste. Got me hooked.
Have you heard that there are places, and I haven't heard of one here, they're called rage rooms for that purpose.
Really?
Where
Yes.
you can go throw
With the
paint all
padded
over the
walls and
walls, or
Or you can like take a baseball bat to glass and things like that. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of, I'm all like, that's kind of really cool. I don't know if I could do a rage room. I could throw paint and have fun.
Yeah, I
But
could throw pain.
Right.
And I still like to beat on a pillow on occasion. Just fist to a pillow. It lets go of a lot. Yeah.
I think
Again, that's your
dance parties.
physiology, right? You're
Yes.
you're moving your body, and yeah.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes it too, for me to release those emotions is to realize that I have the power to do that,
Mhm.
and that I can, along with my creator, release them, like,
Yeah. That
and
you
there are
have the
some,
power.
yeah, and there are some times that it's too big, and I've got to reach out to other people. That's why we need each other too, guys. That's
The
why
power.
it's important to get in touch with a coach or a best friend or somebody that can really help you process to get rid of those. But
Yeah.
someone who knows what they're doing is helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
It's a
good
good
thing.
idea to be with someone who's trained. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It is good. It is good. Well, we could talk about this all day long, but I think we should save some for next week.
Yeah.
So let's just say it's important when you feel things to let yourself feel things and to let it pass through. A big emotion will generally not last longer than 25 to 90 seconds. My personal experience was mine never got longer than 25, and that gave me a lot of comfort when I started to feel something really big, to just quietly feel and deliberately have courage and count. And it would pass. You could feel it just like because 9 babies, that's what I relate to, as a labor contraction. It would come up, it would peak, and it would go away, and it would take about 25 seconds. So emotions are good. Emotions are important. The good ones, the bad ones, all of them, they make us who we are. And we want to feel them and let them pass through us for optimum health. So we'll leave it there, but next week we'll talk some more, because we could go forever on this. But in the meantime, Jacine, what are we doing for book club? Because we finished my one word. What's up?
Yes. Let me make sure I get the title right.
It's the
we
gratitude
are
one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there it is. The gratitude diary.
Yeah. And we are through chapter 5 this week. And then, and it's just been really good. There's some just amazing stories that she shares about her life and how she is learning how to flip things into gratitude and see the gratitude in even the hard things.
You play the
And
gratitude game just like Pollyanna. Life is a lot better.
yeah,
Well, she
yeah,
talks
but
too about like not having that toxic positivity, which is good.
All right,
yes,
no toxic positivity, but yeah, it is good to be able to flip it.
yeah, just to be able to flip the switch, to feel your emotions and then say, "Oh, what can I learn in this? What is this
Yeah,
about?" Yeah, this is, yeah.
so much
So
good.
it's been really good. Yep.
Yeah. And we have mastermind next Monday night and Coach and Clear on Tuesday. And we'll be back next week with another edition of Creator Based Weekly, or as we call it here, what do we call it here, you guys? A creator-based life.
Creator-based life. Yep.
Been a lot of talking, but it's great to be here. So next week we'll talk maybe just a little bit more about this, because there's a lot about releasing emotion and a lot about living in our emotion, which is a beautiful thing, and move forward to talk more about life and how to create the life you love, the one you've always wanted. So have a really good week, and we'll see you guys soon.
I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on Linktree/CMH Coaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Moment by moment, it's all up to me. 'Cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Whoa, day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. What you thinking? 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 You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on Linktree/CMH Coaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.